Hey friends, it's Sherry again. This is going to be part 2 of the video that I created a couple days ago on timeline shifts and healing the self and healing the earth right now. I really wanted to get this video out close to the first one because I feel like a lot of the response I'm getting and a lot of the feelings that I'm getting is that people are struggling a little bit right now in understanding this whole release process. People are feeling, they're not feeling like themselves. They are having physical symptoms that they're struggling with. People in their life are suddenly shifting in and out. People that they have been friends with their whole life are suddenly fading out. And people are feeling a little bit lost. And what I'm here to tell you is that there's a reason for it. And so as we are all ascending and awakening in our own beautiful time frame, everybody is on their own journey and their own car is going at its own speed. What's happening is that as we transition and our vibration rises along with Mother Earth, we are having an awareness or a shift in ourselves from within, not outward, but from within, where our perspective is suddenly shifting. And TV shows that we used to watch or movies suddenly don't interest us anymore, or books that we've been reading for years suddenly aren't doing it for us and we're just not interested, or friends or things that we used to do to have fun aren't giving us the same amount of joy anymore, and we're really searching or seeking for more than what we've been doing. And so what happens with other people is that if those people in your life are not shifting into a different vibration that you are moving into, then you're not going to resonate with them. So everybody's vibration or everybody's frequency is shifting at different speeds. And so what happens is suddenly the people that you've been with for quite some time, you hang out with a lot, or even family, have been in the same vibrational range with you for quite some time, and then suddenly you find yourself kind of over here. So I want to preface this and make sure I'm explaining it correctly, in that there is no good or bad. There's no hierarchy in the vibrational shifts. So you're not moving into a better vibration than someone else. It's just different. It's just different resonance. And so our bodies respond to that physically. We have an emotional response, like I said, where you're just feeling like, gosh, I'm just not feeling like I'm vibing with that person anymore. Again, it's not right or wrong. There's nothing that person necessarily did. Or you just feel yourself naturally drifting apart, where you don't call each other as much. Because again, your vibrations have shifted into different frequencies. Again, no right or wrong, no hierarchy. Let's just say on the same plane, but over here it's different, it's farther apart. So you don't feel like there's one better than the other. There are lower vibrational frequencies that people can get into. That does exist. But in this example right now, where you're feeling where the people that are suddenly transitioning in your life are out of nowhere, are at your frequency. So you are then attracting other people in that vibrational frequency. And a lot of people are in the state where they're over here and everybody else is over here, and they're feeling quite alone. And that's what's happening to a lot of people, where they're feeling like, okay, well, I'm shifting and I'm waking up, but where is my tribe? Where are my people? Who can I talk to about this? And that's exactly where a lot of people are. And they're feeling physically, because of it, although their vibration is shifting in the positive way, they're feeling alone. And so they're having these adjustments, or this spectrum of emotions that it's bringing them through all of these variations. And it can be quite uncomfortable, because when we're in the process of releasing, which is where we are, I believe that we're in a deep transition period of healing, both energetically on the earth, and then as humanity, individually and collectively. And so this is a really difficult time, because a lot of the negativity is being shed from people. And like I said, the density in the atmosphere is quite heavy right now, and we're all feeling it. There's a lot of negativity on the TV. Turn off the TV. Number one, just stop watching the news. Just stop listening to it. If it's taking over your Instagram feeds and all of that, just stop looking at it. That's number one. But as we are alchemizing and dissolving that negativity, and we shift up, I got this beautiful, because I work with and most people that know me know I work a lot with animals, and I have a high respect for the animal kingdom. and the knowledge that they have, especially being on this earth for such a long time. And they come from such a high vibration anyways, that they don't have the emotional vibrations, fluctuations that we do, because they're not really here to learn anything. They're not here to learn or have lessons. They just exist. And so they vibrate with the frequency of the earth, and that's why they're such beautiful and amazing wisdom carriers. And so I got this visual of, if you can imagine, sometimes when you look up at the sky, especially this time of year in the fall, where you see these large quantity of birds just flying in the same direction, and there's like hundreds of them, and they're like, oh my gosh, when is this gonna stop? Like, they just seem to keep coming and coming and coming. My daughter is fascinated by those birds. She always tells me to look up in the sky, Mommy, look at all the birds. And what's interesting is I received a message the other day, as if you think collectively as humanity, the consciousness of humanity has been like those birds for so many hundreds and thousands of years, of us essentially just following the crowd and not really knowing where we're going, but just accepting, accepting the reality that we are being given, that we are being told, that is actually inverted to what's actually supposed to be. We're supposed to be such high vibrational beings that have the capability of doing pretty much anything in a quantum field, but we have been limited purposely by certain energies that are trying to keep the masses in kind of in order, so that we and it's all about power, right? So the higher ups want to keep the little birds together in a zombie-like pattern. Just keep moving, follow the person in front of you, go to work 40 hours a week, some 80 hours a week. We're constantly worried about money. We're constantly worried about putting food on the table, paying our bills, making sure our kids have all these activities and they're doing well. And it's just constant chaos all the time. And people are just following the bird in front of them, and they think that that's how life is supposed to be. And it's absolutely not the way life is supposed to be. That's not why we're here. That's not the reason we were created. We were created as light beings to come into earth and experience the physical plane. Eating food, what does that taste like? Hearing sounds, what does it hear like? What does it sound like? Feeling, what does these materials feel like to you? I'll give you a really cute example about children. So why do children love candy so much? Like, what is the big deal about candy? I mean, because a lot of adults grow up, and then, like myself, I don't like candy. I don't eat candy. It doesn't appeal to me. I'd much rather eat more dinner food. I like food. But why do children go crazy for candy, and they get addicted to it? So yes, two things are happening. There is a chemical response, and their body is becoming addicted to it to some level because of the chemical response of the sugar. But really, the reason why they love candy so much is because where we come from as light beings, we can't experience those things. That's the whole reason people want to come in this physical body, in this vessel, to be able to have these senses, to experience things, that taste, what things taste like. And because sugar is such a magical feeling, especially for a small little body, because of the response it gives you, and the flavors in your mouth, that they are just overcome by it. They become addicted to it in their own little way, but it's harmless, And so we come into this body to be able to have interaction with another human being. You hugging somebody, what does that feel like? Laughing, having a response, an energetic response to something. Like laughter or smiling, or even the lower vibrational stuff, sadness. Those are okay too. Like, we're not supposed to have the high vibrations all the time, because we are here in the third dimensional field to experience. So good and bad. So there's a balance. I don't believe that there should be a balance of the good and bad energy. I don't believe that, but I do believe we should have a good balance of the energetic shifts. So I was explaining this to a group of people the other day, where we have in the third dimensional earth plane, we have a very large scope, or very large spectrum of emotional possibilities. I condensed that into my first book, Intuitive Transformation Evolution, into what I referred to as the emotional high-rise, like a building. And I broke it up into floors. So there's 10 floors in the penthouse, And the lower floors represent the low vibrational energies and how heavy and dense that can feel. And then you go up the elevator to higher floors and you experience different levels of emotion all the way up to the penthouse, which is just pure peace, joy, and love. And when we all love to be there all the time, but that's really not why we're here. I mean, if we were going to do that, then there wouldn't be any point in incarnating. So it's about experiencing all the levels, but maintaining yourself somewhere in the middle to the higher range, and then only going down to those floors, the lower floors, if you're really working through something and experiencing it. But we're never meant to stay down there. We're never meant to live in fear. We were never meant to live with anger and resentment towards others, or worry or anxiety. That was a paradigm that was created for us, or to us, by lower vibrational energies, because they feed off of that. That's how they gain their power. So they want us to be in that state. But the good news is that we're breaking free from that, but it feels uncomfortable for everybody because it's new. And people don't know what to do with themselves. They're like, well, if I'm not working 70 hours a week and worrying about paying my bills, and my kids aren't in school for 8 hours a day or 6 hours a day, whatever it is, what are they going to do? Like, what are we supposed to do with our time? If we live in an environment where money isn't driving us, and we don't have to be number one, or we don't have to seek to be the president of some corporation or the president of the United States, whatever. Because when you take all of that away, we are left with what works and what feeds our essence individually, and that is going to be different for everybody, which is what it's such a beautiful thing. So it's about creation. It's about understanding and having compassion, and without all of those boundaries, with all of those blockages where we can't see. So in the fifth dimension, if you imagine that spectrum of emotions that I talked about in the third dimension, so imagine that high rise of 10 stories, let's say, condensing to 6 or 7 stories. And so we take out the lower vibrational floors so that we don't get stuck in them. Because in the third dimension, the difficulty that a lot of us have is, if we don't have the support or the confidence or the high frequency or vibration, we become stuck in there, and then we manifest from that vibration, and we attract more of those types of energies to us, which is why some people just are in this negative cycle and bad things keep happening, and then they put it out there and they see, I told you this was going to happen to me. Well, because you have placed yourself in that lower floor, and you cannot manifest outside of that vibration. So no matter how hard you try, if you are stuck in that conscious part of your brain, that left side, that analytical part that is so limiting, then you will only attract that. So we are in the fifth dimension, or high. I'll stop saying fifth dimension because I think it's confusing people. Let's just talk in variations of frequencies. So where Mother Earth and all of us awaken and willing are transitioning to a higher frequency. And that frequency, what happens is our emotional spectrum shortens, so we don't get stuck in the lower fields. We still experience anger and sadness, but the intensity shifts. So if you think about a time that you got so angry with somebody and you were just boiling in anger, everybody knows what that feels like. And then if you remember a time where you were just agitated and, just annoyed with somebody, like, ugh, whatever. And it kind of annoyed you, but like it didn't boil your blood. Imagine taking away that first anger and that rage. And wouldn't it be amazing if you could live in a world where your most severe emotion would be in the frustration range? If that makes sense. So we're taking away all of that. And when you're in a higher vibration and a higher frequency, you have such an awareness that your physical body, as soon as you drop anywhere too low, your body will say absolutely not. Like right now, if we're asleep, we may fester in it and not recognize it and feel out of sorts, and then dis-ease happens and physical symptoms and all of these cancers come out and health issues. When you're in a higher frequency, your body will tell you, no, I don't like how this feels. And then you make different choices, and then you release it. And you're able to do that effortlessly because you're in a higher frequency. That's why children are able to let things go so easy. Until they get to about this age of 7 or 8, and then they start to have more of our issues, more attachments and things like that. and more stubbornness. But younger kids, they're just so pure that they have their vibration, their frequency is so high from the time that they come in, that they operate from a place of love and understanding and compassion. And so when you get mad at them, they're like, oh my God, I don't like this. And then they suddenly, a lot of times parents will see like the children trying to do something to make the parents feel better, even though technically the child's in trouble, because they are trying to bring your frequency up subconsciously. They may not even realize, and a lot of the new age children do know what they're doing, and because they're so wise and they have such wisdom and they come in with such a high vibration. And so as the earth is shifting into a higher frequency and we are shifting into a higher frequency, our physical bodies, our physical vessel is able to store that energy, because for such a long time in the third dimension, the lower density of where we've been, as we try to raise in frequency, we try to meditate, we try to tap into our higher self and our intuition and all those things that a higher vibration helps you to do. A lot of people have been unable to do that because they have all these blockages. They're hitting a wall. And that's because their wall is the frequency, the higher, that they can't go any higher. But when you break out of that, the possibilities in a quantum reality is infinite. What's going to happen in the future? Who knows? Because we're in a quantum reality. It could be whatever it is that you want it to be. Now, I don't mean, even when we're in a higher vibrational frequency, all of us, collective humanity, things still have to play out in time. And so time, even though we can manifest and heal instantly in our mind energetically, the physical body and the reality has to play out. And so that takes time. So right now we're in this raw, uncomfortable period, but I believe that as we transition 2021 and 2022, like the next few years, we're in the healing process. So just be patient and give it time, because people are going to be waking up at their own time and their reality and their paradigm is shifting. And so we have a few years to go so the excitement that I have is going to be a slow rollout. But the good news is that it's such an exciting time that even though it's a slow rollout, everybody will feel it. And so collectively the vibration rises and the excitement rises and things can happen much faster. Our collective consciousness has a large amount, what am I trying to say? How we feel collectively in the masses, the higher vibration frequency we can get in that excitement and manifesting the unknown, but in our abundance and our highest good, the faster this time will move. But right now, there's so many people on this earth that are still flying in that herd, or I don't know what you call it in bird. I've been working at a zoo for 10 years and I can't think of what it's called. That's terrible. Anyways, where we got to break, those birds have to break free, because it's all about individuality. There is nobody on the earth plane like Sherry or like Jill and Bob and everybody. We're all individuals, and we have to break out of this mold that we feel like we need to fit into. We watch the TV and they're telling us that we have to think this way, or that this is happening, or our teachers in school say this, and a lot of us may not resonate with that, but we just do it, and it feels uncomfortable, but we do it because we're told, and so we lose the individuality. And that's, again, I keep going back to children and animals. That's why they're so profound teachers for us, because they could care less. I want to walk out of my house with a orange shirt with polka dots and my pajama pants and slippers and my hair not brushed, my daughter. And I'm thinking, oh gosh, no, you can't go in public like that. And she said, these children are free spirits. I'm like, why not? Who cares? This is what I want to wear. I'm comfortable. And they're teaching us to break out of our paradigm. Who cares what we look like, right? And that's really hard to do, because we've been programmed for so many years, our whole life. You have to look this way or dress this way. And so we're breaking out. The birds need to break out. We need to break out and really I'm encouraging you in the remainder of the months of this year, especially going into winter solstice, because it's such a powerful time in this winter of 2020, going within, spending some time on your own. So we're no longer seeking guidance from gurus or even me. I'm just I like to give people ideas and empower you so that you go and do this work for yourself. So don't take my word for it necessarily, but let me plant a seed in your mind so that you can go then and sit with yourself. So no looking for celebrities to give you the guidance, or gurus or priests or anybody. Everybody moving forward should stop and find their resonance, discernment, whatever you want to call it, breaking patterns, really reflecting on everything that they've been taught their whole life, and really sit down and say, does this resonate with me? And then what doesn't, just let it go. It doesn't matter. So I was in a session a few weeks ago with this beautiful woman, and I was given this visual of her being this beautiful eagle flying in the sky. But then it was so pretty. But when I got closer to the eagle, I saw the talons, and with each of the nails had a string. And when I looked closer, the string each one of them were carrying these metal weights, and the weights were signifying all of the weight that this beautiful soul was carrying and needed to let go, and it was holding her from being her living in her highest potential, I guess. And that's where a lot of people are. So once you break free from that herd, I think it would be serve all of us our highest good to evaluate what weights that we're carrying, what limited beliefs are holding us back, are limiting us, what people in our life are we no longer resonating with. Again, no right or wrong, just different vibrational frequencies. Who can we release? What can we release? What can we let go? And I say this all the time, and I truly believe this. Our mind is so driven by our intention. It's so powerful. There's a chemical response in our brain when we have intentions, when we make choices from the right brain. We have to get into the right brain. We have to get into that creative mind and get out of the cognitive, analytical, I have to understand, break everything down, and it's like a math equation and you can only have one answer. And that is why people are stuck, because they have to understand every aspect of what's happening. And in energy and in quantum reality, that doesn't exist. And so that's why so many people have such a hard time with all of what I'm saying, and that's okay. But it's so we have to reprogram ourselves to think differently, to think from our heart center, from our higher self, whatever you want to say, and not from the brain. The brain is there, the left brain is there for emergencies, and when you're driving a car, or when you actually have to think about something. But I would say 80% of our existence, maybe even more, should be in that creative right brain, where you're guided by intuition. When you're around somebody, instead of letting your brain interact and decide if you like somebody, or if you're watching the TV, instead of deciding if what this news person is saying makes sense here, or what you're learning from somebody like myself watching this video, don't think from up here. Think about, feel. What is your body how is your body responding? How do you feel emotionally about that newscaster, or that person you're with, or that teacher, or that book you're reading? How do you feel about it? Don't step out of the brain and the left side of you, and focus within and say, gosh, I don't feel good about this. Something isn't adding up. Okay, so that's your gut response telling you I'm not resonating with this. And that's what we need to tap into. If we use the left side of our brain, then we are able to convince ourselves whatever we want. So, you know what, I don't really believe what she's saying, but if I think about it and I add all these things up, then I think I can get myself there. No, stop, wrong. We have to stop doing that. We have to feel from here. And immediately, if your gut feeling is, this doesn't feel good, my heart started beating fast, or I got bubble guts, or or I just don't feel right, then that's your higher self. That's your heart center telling you that something is not good. That's what we need to listen to in every aspect moving forward in our life. What brings us joy? What brings us harmony? What do we care about? Who do we want in our lives? Who do we want our children to interact with? Our animals? Everything comes from here, not up here. This is for driving a vehicle, or you're thinking, you're paying bills and doing math and things you have to do here. Everywhere else needs to come from here, because then you know that you're following your highest good. You tell the universe your intention is to operate from your highest good. Then you will attract what is for your highest good, and that could be in infinite possibilities. You are then manifesting from a frequency that's up here instead of limited down here, and you could get more than you could have ever dreamt of, because when you're manifesting from down here in a unsure vibration of worry and anxiety and limited beliefs, then you will attract whatever matches that, right? But if you are manifesting from a frequency of up here, of what's for my highest good, what is good for this aspect of the essence of me, of Sherry, then you will find yourself like that eagle, just dropping those weights one at a time. And be patient with yourself and give it time. I don't want you to, it's probably not recommended to drop all of them at the same time, because then your physical body has to catch up to that energetic visualization, and then you might feel out of sorts, and it might be too much. It's too much for you at one time. So just a little bit at a time. Over the course of the next couple of months, just little weights at a time. Some are heavier than others, that's fine. Whatever you feel comfortable with. And shedding that, unraveling that pre-programming, so that you can walk into a new, higher vibrating frequency of the essence of who you are, that has been so clouded and so weighed down by just life in general and what we've been programmed to believe. So we're just deleting all of that, and we're just going and starting over in a new page. And I believe 2021 is what that's about, a higher vibe. And we're capable of doing that because collectively humanity is raising their frequency to be able to do that. Now, I don't mean that in 2021 and beyond, everybody is suddenly going to vibrate at the same resonance. No. Again, it's no right or wrong, but over here or over here or over here. And so we'll find our people. So whoever vibrates with your resonance and your frequency, and you will attract them to you. So then we will all live an existence where we are really aligning with those people in our life and not trying to make them fit because, I've known them for 20 years or our kids play together. No, it will be different, because you will be thinking from a space of more clarity and more empowerment. Okay, I think that was everything I want to say. There's so much. I could talk for hours, but I know people's attention span is not that. I don't have that much of attention span either. So I think I'll cut it off here for today, because this is kind of the end of what I was talking about in the first video, part 1, and then I'd like to talk about manifesting, but I think that's going to be a whole nother video. So try your best to make yourself like the eagle and just start dropping weights. Just drop them and let it go, because you will feel lighter. I can guarantee you. And if anybody doesn't, you can email me and I'll talk to you about it and we'll work through it, because I've never recommended to anybody maybe not with that analogy, but letting things go and allowing yourself to breathe through those shifts and exhaling and releasing. I've never had anybody come back and say, gosh, I didn't feel 10 pounds lighter, or I didn't feel an overwhelming sense of peace. But it's all about stepping out of here and operating from here. So I hope that this video was helpful, and I will be back online in probably a few days. Okay? See you guys later.